He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Well, there's something I want to comment on, but I'm not allowed to. I may do it another day. Anyway, see the Medal of Freedom, who the recipients are going to be? This has become extremely political, ladies and gentlemen. There's always a few good folks thrown in there, but we basically have the ruling class now giving itself a medal of freedom, like Oprah Winfrey, because we know she's freed so many people. And, of course, Washington Post retired managing editor, executive editor, editor in command, whatever, Ben Bradley. I thought he had dementia. I thought I read that somewhere, but apparently not. He'll be getting an award because, of course, he took down Nixon. Ernie Banks, I loved Ernie Banks, really. Great baseball player. I'm not sure why he's getting the Medal of Freedom. Daniel Inouye, I think he's getting it posthumously, yes. So is Sally Ride, I understand that. There's some others I understand. Richard Lugar, because the Republicans in Indiana rejected him, so Obama wants to give him a Medal of Freedom. What else do we have here? There's, like I say, some very good ones. And then, Gloria Steinem, Medal of Freedom. Is that not a joke? Patricia Wald, left-wing appellate judge. Later on the International Criminal Tribunal in The Hague, but no doubt about it, left-wing. Dean Smith, Medal of Freedom. Why is I mean, I like Dean Smith, but why is he getting the Medal of Freedom? And then there's Bill Clinton. Now, this one is particularly interesting to me. I dare say, Mr. Producer, Bill Clinton is the first impeached president to get a medal for anything. You know, folks, he was impeached not that long ago, but even more than that, he was held in contempt by a federal district judge in Arkansas 14 and a half years ago. So I dare say he's the only impeached, held in contempt president of the United States to get the Medal of Freedom. This just shows you how screwed up we are. Well, not you and me, our ruling class. So what does Clinton do? He makes about $200,000 a speech. He sets up a foundation. They raise an enormous amount of money through his connections, internationally and otherwise. Well, that's all well and good. But the Medal of Freedom, no. So let me be the first to object. I want to remind you what we mean by why he was held in contempt. A federal judge in Little Rock wrote the Philadelphia Inquirer. Is that still in business, or has somebody bought that for about $12? Federal judge in Little Rock yesterday, goes to the April 13, 1999 article, found President Clinton in contempt of court for giving intentionally false testimony during the deposition of the Paula Jones sexual harassment case. How did this guy escape removal from office? Unbelievable how the Democrat Party circles the wagons. And now, you know, he's speaking at the Democrat convention when one of their themes is the war on women. I mean, there you are. The guy should have been in handcuffs speaking to the convention. Clinton swore on January 17, 1998, that he had never had a sexual relationship with Monica Lewinsky and had never been alone with her. The ruling by U.S. District Judge Susan Weber Wright marks the first judicial finding that Clinton had intentionally testified falsely under oath. Maybe this is why he's getting the Medal of Freedom. Judge Wright, who presided over the Jones case and was present when Clinton gave his deposition, said Jones had been entitled to any information that Clinton had about past affairs. She said he had deliberately withheld the information when he testified. Wright's ruling, which noted that no court had ever previously held a president in contempt, was a civil decision and carries no criminal penalties. He should have been held in criminal contempt, actually. She bent over backwards to help him. The judge ordered Clinton to reimburse Jones for any reasonable costs, including attorney fees that resulted from his failure to testify truthfully, to reimburse the cost for her travel expenses, that is, for the court. And it says here that Clinton conceivably might also face the loss of his law license. He did. I believe it was for 8 years. The Arkansas Supreme Court removed his law license. Let's see here. So he's earned, I guess, a place among the others with the Medal of Freedom. Apparently he's also one of the Bush family's favorite people. He's a swell guy, unless, of course, your name is Juanita Broderick. She claims Clinton raped her. Or Kathleen Willey. She claims Clinton sexually assaulted her. Or Paula Jones. She claims that Clinton showed his ding-dong to her and said, kiss it. I mean, other than that, he's pretty cool to hang around with, apparently. And there he'll be, standing ovation, Medal of Freedom. Can you believe that, Mr. Producer? I mean, really. I don't know. I mean, they give him out like candy or bubble gum. It's stunning. And, you know, I mean, if this guy, I mean, the if, we know the if. Let's see here, one other thing, boom, boom, boom. And Oprah Winfrey. No wonder she's running around, Obama's the greatest president since, and so forth and so on. This woman's a billionaire. A billionaire. Why? And that's perfectly fine. Why is she getting the Medal of Freedom? Maybe Jerry Springer ought to get the Medal of Freedom. Maybe I shouldn't put any thoughts in their heads. And Richard Lugar? Why does he get the Medal of Freedom? Anyway, why did Obama get the Nobel Peace Prize when he was in office for about 14 seconds? Anyway, that's a good question, too. All right, let's get into this here a little bit. By the way, Chris Christie, just wanted to hit this very quickly, New Jersey. Rasmussen reports that Christie holds a narrow lead among Republicans for the party's 2016 presidential nomination, but even more Republican voters say he's the candidate they least want to see nominated. I think I deserve a little credit for this, Mr. Producer, for exposing Chris Christie for what he is. So Christie earns 21% support when Republican voters are asked whom they would vote for if the party's primary was in their state today. But he's also strongly opposed. And Paul Ryan's not doing very well, and Jeb Bush isn't doing very well, and Rubio's not doing very... Looks like there's an opening. And Scott Walker's not doing very well, as a matter of fact. Have you all been seeing this video of these 3 black kids beating the crap out of this 13-year-old? You can't see the 13-year-old. Turns out he's white. 3 15-year-old black kids beating the crap out of a 13-year-old white kid. And it's brutal. Apparently they broke his arm. He had massive contusions. His face was swollen up, 2 black eyes. And I pulled this article reflecting on this video early this morning. And I thought to myself, you know that 13-year-old white kid, Mr. Producer? That could have been me when I was 13 years old. Oh, it could have been me. Then I started thinking to myself, where's President Obama? Obama's going to have a press conference tomorrow. Don't bother listening. The man never answers a question straight. He rambles on. He attacks. He's always mad. Forget about it. If there's anything good, we'll pick it up. I don't even know what time it is. Probably noon, 2 o'clock, something like that, so it doesn't interfere with his golf game. But anyway, let's see if the president, as he did with the Zimmerman case, let's see if he speaks out. Matter of fact, I would challenge the president to speak out about this. I assume it was a race-based crime. Yes, we know that apparently the 13-year-old told authorities that one or all of these kids were trying to sell him marijuana, for which, of course, they had the right to beat the living crap out of him, right? But it's hard to watch that video. And we have a video. Unlike the Zimmerman-Martin case, we have a real live video, and you can see it. Do you know they hit that kid 100 times? 100 times? With their fists and stomped on him, too? Now, isn't this a quintessential definition of a hate crime? I'm just asking the questions. I don't pretend to have all the answers. Can I assume that Eric Holder will unleash the Civil Rights Division? Can I assume that Eric Holder will have a phone conference with all the usual left-wing radical groups? Encourage them to collect as much information as they possibly can on these kids, the 3 15-year-olds, who are obviously guilty of assault and battery, if not worse? Will the federal government track down every shred of information to bring charges? Will they federalize the case? Will the jurisdiction be moved to another jurisdiction? Will they? Do we even know the names of the parents of the 13-year-old white kid? Or parent? We don't even know if he has 2 parents. What do we know about this? Almost nothing. Now, other than this video being shown on cable and on the Internet, has this story been covered by Good Morning America? The Today Show? Maybe it has. The CBS Morning whatever show? Has it been covered by the nightly news programs? Has it seen the light of day on MSLSD on the Al Sharpton television show? How about Piers Morgan? How about any of these jerks? How about any of these race baiters? Are they interested or not? Answer no, they're not. Neither is Obama, neither is Holder. I rest my case.
Mark Levin.
This is just a perfect example of how we, the people, are manipulated through the media, through various phony civil rights leaders, but not just phony civil rights leaders, on all sorts of subjects and matters. So for months, the nation's focus is drawn via the media, via certain individuals and groups, on one case, the Zimmerman-Martin case. The nation, day in and day out, talk show hosts, endlessly blabbering about it. And here we have a case where 3 15-year-olds who happen to be black are beating the snot out of a white kid who's 13 years old. And virtually nobody gives a damn. Virtually nobody gives a damn. And it's on video. And nobody stepped in to stop it. So there's no question about what took place. None whatsoever. There's no question about who the aggressors were. None whatsoever. It wasn't even one 15-year-old against a 13-year-old. It was 3 15-year-olds beating the crap out of a 13-year-old. And they beat him so badly that we never get to see the kid because he's obviously cowering behind the school bus seat. And they hit him 100 times. And when you look at the video, these are roundhouse punches and these are stompings. What does Oprah Winfrey think about that? What does 50 Cent think about that? What do all the liberals think about this? White, black, brown, whatever. We don't hear from them. We don't hear from anyone. What groups have gone down there to defend this kid? What groups have gotten in front of cameras and insisted that this kind of racial hatred, this kind of a hate crime, must be brought to justice? Nothing from the president, nothing from the attorney general, nothing from senators and congressmen. Zero. Why is that? Why is that? And I'm going to tell you why it is. Because there is this desire to paint America as a racist nation. It's not a nation without racism. No nation is without racism. I don't care if it's a majority white nation, a majority black nation, a majority brown nation, a majority Asian, whatever it is. Some group of people are always put upon. I don't quite understand it. I don't like it, but that's beside the point. We're talking about facts. America is, in fact, the most tolerant society on the face of the earth, which is why, in fact, people of all races, ethnicities, come into this country legally and illegally, and more from the third world. That is, more and more who are minorities in this country. And if this country was as bad as Obama and Holder and the other leftists say it is, they wouldn't be pouring over our borders, now would they? Why would you escape to a country that would discriminate against you or punish you? So it doesn't fit the narrative, you see. That's why nobody cares about this. And the narrative is America is, will always be, and can never be anything but a racist nation because it drives an agenda. That's why. I'll be right back.
You've heard of Lady Liberty? Well, this is Mr. Liberty. The Mark Levin Show. Call him now at 877-381-3811.
Wait a minute, let me look. Yes, definitely Mr. Liberty. Are the Republicans getting an earful during their August recess from you folks? It appears they are. On Obamacare and their refusal to fight to defund it, even defund major parts of it. They're getting an earful from you, and they should. Because this is the battle of our time. And I get a lot of emails from all over the country because we're in 300 markets, and I want to thank all of you, my beloved, loyal listeners. And there's something I've been saying that's actually being repeated from sea to shining sea, even being repeated by U.S. senators. I've made the point over and over and over again on this government shutdown business that the government shuts down every weekend. The government shuts down every holiday. Today is Thursday. Soon it'll be Friday night. We'll have a government shutdown because government employees, unless they're essential employees, do not work Friday nights until Monday morning. Something I've been pointing out a lot, and which now the backbenchers have picked up on, and they'll repeat it, and then they'll tell you that they predicted something or other. But in any event, it's an important point being made now on the Senate and House floors and in the echo chamber that is the backbencher types in talk radio. I don't know. I mean, We can't shut down the government. Then I guess we can't do anything. Now, when you think of shutting down the government, ladies and gentlemen, what are you thinking of? Shutting down the military? That doesn't shut down. Shutting down the Border Patrol? That doesn't shut down. Shutting down law enforcement like the FBI and the DEA? No, that doesn't shut down either. See, it's mostly the paper pushing, the redistribution of wealth, all that stuff shuts down. But even there, they have what they call essential personnel who remain in these departments and agencies. And here's the deal. The President of the United States has ways to make a quote-unquote shutdown less painful. But this president wants it to be as painful as humanly possible. You remember the little sequester? He's tried to make that as painful as humanly possible. Some fraction of 1% of spending cuts, most of which comes out of defense. So, yes, the government might shut down parts of it. And what shall we do? Well, what did we do when it shut down in 1995? Did we survive? I think we did. Does anybody even remember it? No, not really. How about the 6 or 7 times it shut down under Ronald Reagan? Did anybody remember that? Not really. Anything happen? No. But the Republicans have drawn a line in the sand. No, we won't shut down the government. Look how they even talk like a bunch of morons. Nobody's saying they would shut down the government. That's the Obama Democrat response. Hey, you're going to wind up shutting down the government. And then they shut it down. So now this is the big battle over shutting down the government, which everybody says, oh, we can't do it, which of course we can. And there's Mitt Romney the other day demonstrating how clueless the poor guy is. We don't want to shut down the government. Well, by the way, does every Republican politician now... I better not say that. Anyway, here's the deal. Romney's out there saying, well, you want to shut down the military, Social Security? None of that has to happen. None of it. And there he is. So, this is really the morning show for the rest of the shows. No offense. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm congratulating them. I'm congratulating them. What is it they say about, I forget. If you want to use my arguments, use them. But it is like the weekend. It is like the holidays. And we do perfectly well. As a matter of fact, we love the weekends, don't we? Hey, I can't wait for the weekend. Not only don't I have to go to work, oh, my God, I can enjoy myself, take the kids to Little League. That's right. We love our weekends, and that's when the government shut down. We even love our holidays. Is the government open on Christmas? No. New Year's Eve? No, a lot of partying to do. How about Easter? No again. Then we have Labor Day, Memorial Day. We have Veterans Day. We have other days, too. Is the government open? Nope. Shut, and shut again. And here we are. Oh, my goodness. Surviving. How do we do it? Tell me, how do we survive without this massive bureaucracy telling us how to live? Do you know how to eat? Yes, I do. Do you know how to use the bathroom? Yes, most of the time. Do you know how to get in a car and drive? Yep. Do you know how to shower? Yes, I've tried it every now and then. You don't need the government, all the government, to be pushing you around. It's one of the reasons you enjoy your weekends and holidays. Anyway, I just wanted to make that clear. Since it's making the rounds, and it's so brilliant, that others apparently, based on all the emails I'm getting, feel the need to use it because they can't come up with arguments themselves. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay if it's a good argument. It's the nature of the beast in this business. How about David, Seattle, the great KVI? How are you, sir?
Quite well, sir. It's fantastic that I'm talking to you. I'm the only conservative in Seattle, for the record.
Well, thank you, but I have to tell you, we just re-upped with our wonderful affiliate there, KVI, and we have very solid ratings there, so there must be more than one.
I know, I kid. It's fantastic. We love
You have a big family, don't you?
I do. We're huge.
There you go.
Hey, you know, what amazes me about the mainstream media more than anything else is how much they've crowded weather into the lead line of every newscast so that we don't have to hear about how screwed up Obama has made the economy, the wars. You know, everything is there's a fire, there's a flood, there's a snowstorm, there's global warming, oh, my God. And then 2 minutes later, there's like one sentence, somebody blew up in Iraq. And it's like, what? What happened to this? You know, with Bush, it was casualty count every day. Oh, my God, what's going on? I mean, now, don't get me wrong. The war is serious. There's problems. But
well, you're quite right. And I'll give you some other examples. Where are the lines of the homeless people?
Exactly.
They exist. We know they're out there.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, again, as an old Reagan administration official, I remember those daily video shots on the network news about, look at the Reagan lines, the Reagan economy, Reaganomics, look what it's doing. You don't see them ever, do you?
No. You know, in my neighborhood, I sometimes count the empty storefronts. And in my mind, Mark, I fantasize about making little thank you, Obama bumper stickers to put on the empty doors that used to be businesses, you know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. It's so sad. And they're looking right past it. It's the biggest story there is. But they don't care. You know, they're not signed up.
No, you're quite right. All right, David, thank you for your call, my friend. He's quite right. Let's go to Wendy, Augusta, Georgia, the great XM satellite. Go. By the way, Wendy, let's see. What's the famous sport, Augusta? Tennis?
Yeah, you got it.
How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, we're the golf town. I'm calling, you know, just to completely agree with you at the beginning of your show. I am completely outraged over the lack of coverage on this white kid getting beat down by 3 black kids, and nobody seems to care.
By the way, are we even allowed to talk about this?
I have the same questions that you. I mean, where is CNN? Where is MSNBC standing on this? What is Obama going to say? Where is Al Sharpton? If it were reversed and there were 3 white kids beating a black kid,
we'd be disgusted, wouldn't we?
And a white bus driver stood by and let it happen. And you know, I know the man is older. I did hear a report on Fox that like a minute went by before he stepped in or did anything. Even when he finally spoke to him, you know, they stopped doing what they were doing, and then he told them he was calling the police. But, you know, it went on. And I'm not sure what happened in that minute, why he didn't realize it was going on. But if the races were reversed, you know, Florida would be an apartheid state again. It would just be incredible.
All right.
The double standard in this country. You know, I have a 15-year-old son. He's a 15-year-old white son. And, you know.
That could have been me.
That could be my son. You know, I could sit there and say just like Obama.
All right, Wendy, got the point, kid. Thank you for your call. Got it, and got it again. You're exactly right. This is why I brought it up. The media coverage. What becomes news? The news is completely phony. It's completely phony. And the caller prior to this nice lady made the point. The Mickey Mouse crap that they're throwing into them. Hey, you know, the weather, there's snow and raining, this and that. All to take our attention off of the magnificent Obama record. And I'm serious about this point I made earlier. Why aren't we seeing the homeless people? Why aren't we seeing the soup lines? They're there. Why aren't they going into the inner cities and showing us this? Why aren't they going into the suburban malls where all the shuttered stores are? They're there. You and I see them. Why aren't they interviewing families where some poor head of a household is holding down 3 part-time jobs because of Obamacare? He can't get a full-time job or she can't get a full-time job. Where are those stories? Remember 60 Minutes used to do this sort of stuff. Now you know what 60 Minutes does? Twice a month they have an interview with Barack or Michelle Obama. Oh, can we see your organic garden? And by the way, is Michelle actually working that organic garden? What is she growing right now in that organic garden, Mr. Producer? Do we know? No, we don't. Well, I'd like to know because we've been told this organic garden and she's growing. Well, what's in there? Nothing. She's not doing anything. Did you see that story, child obesity is heading down? And Barack Obama gave credit to his wife, Michelle, and yet the data was before she was even First Lady? Oh, yes, she's responsible. Yeah, because they're starving in our public schools. They won't eat this crap. I love that 20-grain bread. Of course, the problem is I break my teeth on it like a brick of you-know-what, but you got to love it. It's good for you. How do you digest that crap? Well, you don't, because you don't ingest it, so you can't digest it. I came across a really cool website the other day. It's called liberalmediabs.com. I love the name of that website. It's a really shocking eye-opener to see how the media try to brainwash the public with left-wing propaganda and call it news. There's stuff on this site that even I hadn't seen before. The media are so obsessed with destroying conservatives and shoving Obama's radical agenda down our throats, they're not even subtle about it anymore. They're barely blatantly partisan and dishonest. Take a minute and check out liberalmediabs.com. They have a little quiz on there so you can see how good you are at distinguishing facts from liberal media fiction. I've been there. It's fun. This is exactly the kind of thing we all need to be aware of. Plus, as I said, it's fun to see how many questions you can get right. And if you answer enough correctly, you might even win a prize. A prize. That's something for free. LiberalMediaBS.com proves just how radically leftist the media are and how they become mouthpieces for the Obama administration. It's the liberal media in their own words. No filler, no commentary. Just leftists being leftists. So check it out for yourself. Take a peek. It's LiberalMediaBS.com. Forward it to your friends, too. That's LiberalMediaBS.com.
Mark Levin.
4 days, 5 days, 4 days, whatever it is, the Liberty Amendments restoring the American Republic will be released. Now, let me just say quickly, if you want a signed, limited edition, commemorative copy, they're already 1/3 sold out, and the book hasn't even come out yet. So you can go on my social sites, find Premier Collectibles, and click right on there. If you're thinking about a gift for somebody now or in the future during the holidays, whatever, I'm just saying, I know how this works, and we've talked about it before. Once the book comes out, that'll be much harder to do. So if you want to think ahead and you're in the mood to do it or interested, you may want to go ahead and do that now. I want to thank all you folks on the West Coast and so forth. The Reagan Library event sold out literally in 16 minutes, including the overflow. So I will be there signing books, also speaking and having dinner with, 1,500 of you. And it'll be my great honor. I still think there's room for more people to come for just the book signings, if you're interested and live in that particular area where the Reagan Library is. I also want to announce that on Monday, I will be on the Sean Hannity television show on the Fox News channel. I believe it'll be 9 p.m. Eastern straight up for 1 or 2 segments, launching the book and talking on television about it. And, of course, on my own show, and I'll be on Sean's radio show the following day. I'm also going to be interviewing with Rush for his newsletter very shortly, next week. And I have a big surprise for you next Friday. Big surprise for you next Friday. Also, next Tuesday, I will be on my buddy Neil Cavuto's show. So that's some of what we have planned. Mark, why aren't you on the Today Show? Good morning, Mark. Because I didn't ask, and they didn't ask me. And they never do, and I never do. I just don't do a ton of TV, and I don't do any of their TV. So just alerting you to that. And I've already done some interviews that will appear first thing Monday morning on the book, CNS News, Breitbart, and others who will be doing it with WorldNet Daily, Daily Caller. I can't remember everybody, but also the American Spectator has a piece. So there's going to be a lot of attention to this. And I'm very, very hopeful to see many, many, many of you at the very few book signings I will be doing. One roundup on today, I want to tell you. The only time today I'll mention it. August 17th, Saturday, with our friends at WABC Radio at Book Review on Long Island. Thousands of us together. Patriots all. It's fun. It's invigorating. The next day, Sunday, also with our buddies at WABC Radio at Bookends in New Jersey, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Another great bookstore. Thousands of us there, hopefully. We're going to have a wonderful time together. The following week, Saturday, August 24th, Tyson's Corner, Virginia. Vienna, Virginia. Barnes & Noble at Tyson's. Again, we're going to have a terrific, terrific time. There's going to be thousands of us there. And I would encourage those of you who will be bringing your smartphones, take video of it. It's fun. We're going to have a great time. You're going to meet a lot of friends, and you're going to keep these friends for life. And the rest of the country, I'm sorry, I'm only one person. I can't get everywhere, but you can get in on the action. You can pre-order your copy on Amazon right now or Barnes & Noble, and you can get your signed copy right now. The reason I signed those copies really was for people who couldn't get to the limited number of book signings I'm doing because of requests. All right, next hour, Muslim holy period at Guantanamo.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Just as I was saying, I'm Mark Levin, the number 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811, my damn computer. I should throw it right out the window. Well, did you hear the news? Those of you who get ABC radio news, not all of you, but many of you do. Do you hear one of the breaking news stories? Well, not breaking, but important, because otherwise, why would they report it, right? Did you know the Speaker of the House, the French Republican, Johnny Boehner? He spent part of the day picking out the Christmas tree for the Capitol building. I thought you'd want to know that because I just heard it on ABC Radio News. Mr. Producer, is it August? Do I have my months correct here? It's August. Do we pick out Christmas trees in August? Does Boehner have a lot of time on his hands, apparently? So it was so important that it was picked up by the news. And then we went on his website here. Speaker of the House, John Boehner, Christmas in August. I just want you to know what your Speaker of the House is doing. Conservatives, Tea Party activists who didn't vote for him, but apparently made him, we did, the Speaker, and he has so much respect for us. This is on his website. It's beginning to look at least a little like Christmas now that an 88-foot-tall Engelmann spruce from Colville National Forest in Colville, Washington, has been selected to serve as this year's U.S. Capitol Christmas tree. Now, first of all, who the hell takes trees out of national forests? Are you allowed to do that? Apparently. And the announcement was made by Forest Supervisor Laura Jo West. It's a beautiful tree, one that the people of this great state will be proud to send to our nation's capital. Last month, Ted Bechtel, superintendent of grounds at the U.S. Capitol visited the Colville National Forest to look at the candidate trees identified. He evaluated trees in Stevens, Ferry, and Penn Orell counties, or whatever. Bechtel said, all of the candidate trees are excellent specimens, but the chosen tree has the fullness and width needed for the Capitol grounds. Does this interest anybody? It certainly doesn't interest me, but it does interest me to mock these people. The tradition of the People's Tree dates back to 1964. This is important. This is on the Speaker's website. When a 24-foot-tall Douglas fir was planted on the Capitol grounds at the suggestion of Speaker John McCormick. And the fir died in 1968. So the nation's Forest Service began providing the tree. Well, this is something. Let's see here. In early December, this is the Boehner website. Nothing, can't have a government shutdown. Oh, my God! But the Christmas tree. In early December, members of the House, Senate, and Capitol community will gather for a ceremony where Speaker Boehner and a student from Washington State will light the tree. He's going to light it with a cigarette, Mr. Producer? Maybe he'll throw a little alcohol on it, light her up pretty good, don't you think? That'll do it. Would you see if John Boehner wants to come on the show? Nah, just kidding. To get a better sense of the process, this time lapse, oh, never mind, it's a, they have a video on the Speaker's website of the 2011 tree and how they lit it. Like we don't know how they light it. God help us. By the way, a friend of mine, Tony, from California, he said, let me give you the breakdown. You talk about the government shutdowns during the weekends and holidays and so forth. Let me give you the breakdown of the actual days the government is shut down. That is, the days the government wasn't working except for essential personnel. So he broke it down each month, the number of days. January, 8 days. February, 8 days. March, 10 days. April, 8 days. May, 8 days. June, 10 days. July, 8 days. So the total number of days this year our government has shut down under the Mark Levin formula is 60. Now, by my calculation, that's 2 full months. January, February, yeah. So out of 7 months, the government has shut down 2 full months. Oh, my goodness. Did you miss it? Oh, I wanted to shut down more. It's like these recesses for members of Congress. They didn't earn it. I say get the hell out of town and stay the hell out of town. Double their pay if they'll stay out of town for 6 months a year. Give them an incentive to get out of town. Because if they're not in town, they're not passing laws. And I'll tell you something else. I believe in more federally paid government holidays because then they're out of office longer, too. And I think if you look at the long picture here, take the long view, we'll save billions and billions and billions of dollars that way. All right, I mentioned at the end of last hour I wanted to discuss this because this is how nations are lost. This from the Associated Press. Remember the Associated Press? That is the news agency, the biggest wire service on the face of the earth. That is the news agency that was targeted by the Obama administration for surveillance. Anybody remember that? One of those phony scandals. Anyway, AP Ben Fox. Guards were preparing to serve the first in a series of special meals. This is Guantanamo Bay. And they were prepared to do it Wednesday to prisoners at Guantanamo Bay to mark the end of the Muslim holiday period of Ramadan, which this year brought a lull in a long-running hunger strike. Let me stop right there for a moment. When I hear about prisoners having hunger strikes and terrorists having hunger strikes, why do we care? Why are we force-feeding them? Why aren't we encouraging hunger strikes? The military plan to serve lamb. Listen to this. These are terrorists who are imprisoned at Guantanamo Bay Country Club. Do they allow women in the Guantanamo Bay Country Club? You remember Augusta, they did. I'm just wondering, do they allow women there, Mr. Producer? Do we know? Or is that an exclusive all-male terrorist club? The military plan to serve lamb, bread, dates, and honey as the last daylight fasting period of Ramadan ends, followed by 3 traditional holiday dinners on Thursday, said a spokesman for the prison. They're proud of this. They're bragging about it. Navy Captain Robert Durand. There will also be a special hour-long prayer for the holiday known as, I can't pronounce it, whatever, in addition to the 5 daily prayers. Durand said he expects that most of the 166 prisoners would take in the holiday meals, but it remains to be seen whether later there will be a resurgence of the protests that prompted Obama to say he would resume efforts to close the prison at the U.S. base in Cuba. Wait a minute. So the terrorists are on a hunger strike, although they're eating like kings and queens. And this has prompted Obama, their hunger strike, to say he will close the prison? What a knucklehead. Since Ramadan started in early July, the number of prisoners who met the military criteria to be declared hunger strikers dropped by more than half. And there were a few clashes with guards as most of the men kept the traditional daytime fast. Generally been much calmer, Durand said. It's basically sleep, pray, and talk. Now, if these were American prisoners, Islamo-Nazis standing guard, like the Taliban or Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan or Pakistan or where have you, it would be basically sleep, pray, talk, and decapitate somebody. And I'm not saying that as a joke, because it's sick. Officials said that as of Wednesday, 55 men were classified as hunger strikers, even though most had eaten at least one meal in the previous 24 hours. Well, that's not a hunger striker. They're having a fast. There were 39 who met the the criteria to be tube-fed with liquid nutrients. Why are we tube-feeding terrorists? Unless we're shoving the tube down their nostril and then pulling it out their butt. Lawyers for the detainees, like Holder's former partners at his law firm, have challenged the strike numbers provided by the military. Yeah, it's got to be more than that. Let's hope so. The military keeps hunger strikers in single-person cells for most of the day. Oh, must be inhumane. It's kind of like having to spend Christmas alone. Oh, that's a good analogy. Some people felt they had no choice but to take a little bit of nutrition, said Corey Kreider, a lawyer for the British human rights group Reprieve. Another factor may have just been fatigue. Well, I'm going to say something. It's not intended to be controversial, but it's intended to be factually accurate. If this had been World War II, there'd be no lamb. No, there'd be no hunger strikes. There'd be no forced tube feeding. There'd be no prisoners. You get what I mean, Mr. Producer? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
By the way, if this were World War II, what do you think would be happening to Major Nidal Hassan? I suspect he would have been hung by Christmas 2009 if this were World War II. And the unlawful enemy combatant terrorists at Guantanamo Bay, I'm just telling you the truth, they would have been shot by now. We were so inhumane, weren't we? Now we're so humane, yeah. Now we know how to fight the enemy. Or don't we? Doug, Bismarck, North Dakota on the Internet. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to call because you're talking about these the government shutdowns, and I remember when those happened in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. I don't see why the federal workers aren't demanding a shutdown as opposed to the furloughs, because when the government shut down and they came back to work, if I remember correctly, they got all their back pay. They're not going to get their back pay for the furloughs.
I could be wrong, but I seem to recall that too.
Yeah, and I just, so I just wanted to bring that up, that, a government shutdown, it's going to hurt the government employees too. No, it doesn't. It never hurt the government employees before.
All right, my friend, give peace a chance. Keep hope alive. I'm in my Jesse Jackson quoting mood. I don't know why. It's like Tourette's. Let's continue, shall we? Tony, upstate New York, Sirius Satellite. How are you, sir?
Very good, Mr. Levin. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you. You too.
First thing I want to let you know, your call screener said I shouldn't say this, mention this, but I'm a Vietnam vet, and yes. You have done a tremendous amount to uphold and protect the Constitution. And I would like very much to send you my National Defense Medal.
Oh, no, I want you to keep it, but thank you. And that's why my call screener told you. I really want you to keep it. But, Tony, it's just an honor that you would offer it to me, so thank you. I appreciate that.
And the other thing, sir, is I would like your comments. I think it would behoove the governors of this country, of all the states, to call for a constitutional convention.
Hold on. A convention to propose amendments to the Constitution. There's a big difference. It's not a constitutional convention.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't...
No, don't be sorry, because this is something we're going to discuss at great length. This is the Article 5 says a convention for the purpose of proposing amendments to the Constitution. There is no authority to have a constitutional amendment. Just like the Congress, 2/3 of both houses can pass proposed amendments to the states that ratify. All this is the states getting together, 2/3 or more, at a convention, proposing amendments for the rest of the states to consider.
And I believe that amendment should be for term limits for Congress and the senators.
Guess what? Chapter 1 of my book, and I go into it in great detail. I give historical perspective and other information and data that you're going to love. Thank you for your call, my friend. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. I know I'm going to come under ferocious attack, not even so much by the statists, the Democrat statists, but by the Republics, the French Republicans, because they are perfectly comfortable with what's going on in this country. They do not see the circumstances as dire. You can tell them we have over $90 trillion in unfunded liabilities. You could tell them we have $17 trillion in fiscal operating liabilities. You could go on and on about how the Federal Reserve is destroying the monetary system. You can talk about all these things and you're dismissed. Oh, you're a kook. And then you want to talk about originalism, the Constitution, the law of the land, that every member of Congress, the president and the vice president, the Supreme Court justices and every judge swear on a Bible or a couple of cases a Koran to uphold. And then they tell you, don't pay attention to that. The world started with the New Deal. Oh, we're gonna unravel the whole damn mess. At least we're gonna do it intellectually. We're gonna make the case. Gonna provide guidance. If it takes 10 years, 50 years, or 100 years, we got to take our country back. We got to take it back from the ruling class and those who are their disciples. Now, we can whine about it. We can complain about how difficult this might be. So we may lose some of you in that respect. I get it. But I have a feeling that you're going to be encouraged by this. I have a feeling you're going to be motivated by this, to at least talk about it, to at least pass the word to your family members and your friends and your coworkers, because that's what it's going to take. A new debate, a new discussion in this country. If we can't make it happen, well, at least we will have tried. But we're damn well going to try. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin, Liberty's General Patton. Call into the Mark Levin Show now at 877-381-3811.
Well, I have before me, ladies and gentlemen, President Barack Milhouse Hussein Obama's schedule for tomorrow. Let's see. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. 10 a.m., really, folks? 10 a.m.? 10 a.m. is the first thing on his schedule. The president receives the presidential daily briefing. Then 2 p.m., 4 hours later, he signs the bipartisan student loans bill, cutting student loan interest rates. Then 3 p.m., he holds his phony news conference, at which he will deploy all sorts of diversionary tactics. He'll go on the offense. He'll be angry. He'll be dismissive. He'll cut off reporters. He'll call on his favorites. He'll filibuster. We won't get answers to a damn thing. Here's the question I want you to ask, reporters. I know that the Praetorian Guard, I don't care. Somebody, ask this question. Do you know what question I want them to ask, Mr. Producer? How would you? Right? You can't read my mind. Here's the question I want asked. Mr. President, where were you for the 8.5 hours from the time our consulate in Benghazi was attacked to the time you got up in the morning the next day to go to Las Vegas for a campaign fundraiser? What were you doing during those 8.5 hours, sir? And I want to reserve time for a follow-up question. Well, they ask the question. Well, if they do, it's because I prompted them. But what's the likelihood? I say 20-1 against. 20-1 against. That's the question that will not be asked. Unless there's still a reporter around who gives a damn. Instead, it'll be softball questions. It'll be, hey, what do you think about these Republicans in the House? Do you think they're obstructionists, Mr. President? Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. I'm glad you asked me that question. Here I am, working as hard as I can. I won't rest until we increase employment in this country. I won't rest till we have a budget. I won't rest till we tax the rich. I won't rest till we save the middle class. I won't rest. Now, hurry up. I got a golf game. Yes. Or how about this question? One of these questions that the president may get, given the Praetorian press in this country. Mr. President, do you enjoy the vegetables that Michelle Obama grows in your organic garden on the South Lawn? Yes, I very much do. Yes, I enjoy them. And, you know, Michelle does a hell of a job. And the reason that the young people in this country are not as obese as they used to be, you know, it's Michelle's program. What's the name of that program? I don't know. What is it? Eat fruit and crap like a goose? I don't know. What's the name of the program, Mr. Producer? I can't remember that. What's it called? Oh, Let's Move. Let's Move. Oh, I see. Let's Move. Very clever. I think I read that in a fortune cookie. Let's Move. Damn thing had the numbers of the lottery on the back. I played them and I lost again. Actually, I don't know what happened. I put $20 down. I mean, I know I didn't win the big one. You know what? I was telling the guys before the show. I know this is going to sound weird, and I know it's going to come across wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. What if you had all the numbers but one on this Powerball? We could have won. There were three of them, but let's say you would have been one of the three. Would have won $142 million. But instead, you win $100,000 or whatever it is. Now, don't get me wrong. That's good money. I'm not. Listen. You're never too rich to appreciate $100,000, but 140, and there's one damn number. Wouldn't you be like 1 minute ecstatic you won the 100, and the next minute absolutely depressed that you didn't have the other number? Am I right or not, Mr. Producer? Honestly, what do you think?
You're right. I'd be pissed and then happy.
Pissed and happy? In other words, you'd be schizophrenic about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's my $100,000. Damn it. I think so. Joey, Greenville, South Carolina, on the Internet. Go.
It's great to be on, Mark. Listen to you every night. And I hear people call in constantly. You know, they say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you, folks down here in South Carolina, we know exactly what we're about to do. We're getting geared up, and we're going to primary our local French Republican, Flimsy Lindsey Graham. I personally support Senator Lee Bright, but I was just wondering, I wanted to kind of pick your brain. I wonder what you think our chances are. I feel pretty good about them.
Well, doesn't he have to get 50% to avoid a runoff? Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, if that's correct, I feel pretty good about it. If it's not correct, I think he's going to slip through because you'll divide the conservative vote there.
Yeah, that's
by the way, I've heard good things about Senator Bright.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He's a constitutional conservative, you know. And when the primary came to town last time around, and everybody was racing to endorse various people like Romney and Gingrich, you know, he was the one guy who stood up for a constitutional conservative that I support, Ron Paul, and I really took a chance politically doing that. So a lot of us want to pay him back.
You know, the Ron Paul people love me. Did you know that?
I do, yes. A lot of us around here are Ron Paul people.
Hold on, I'm being sarcastic. They hate my guts.
Oh, really? Then I'm totally wrong.
Now, Rand Paul likes me, and I like Rand Paul, but the Ron Paul fun, I don't know why, you know.
Around here, you're fairly popular, even with the Ron Paul people.
Well, I have no offense, nothing against them, certainly. I mean, the more patriots we can pull together from whatever wing, I'm all in favor of, because we're under, in my view, very, very dire circumstances, so... All right, Joey, so you think we have a shot at keeping Lindsey Graham under 50%, I believe that's the rule there.
I believe we do.
Well, it's important because this is where you can catch somebody like a Lindsey Graham in a primary, even though my problem is your primary is an open primary, but you got to deal with what you got to deal with, right?
Absolutely.
All right, my friend, keep peace alive or whatever. No, that's keep hope alive. What is it? Give peace a chance. Let us continue, shall we? Rada, or is it Rada? I apologize. Virginia, the great WMAL. How are you?
Yes, just fine. Thank you. Thank you for taking my call. I am from former Yugoslavia, and we Eastern Europeans agree with you, follow you, and love you.
Well, aren't you kind? Thank you. Now, what? How do you pronounce your name? I apologize.
Rada.
Rada?
R-A-D-A. Rada.
Very pretty.
I read your book. I wanted to see you in Virginia, but the slots are filled up. So I listened to you. I watch you on Hannity and O'Reilly if you're there.
No.
I tried to call you for years just to tell you thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Well, thank you.
I have seen it. I have lived through it. I have seen it, and it doesn't work.
No, it's miserable, which is why you're here, right?
Yes, sir. Love, choice, American by choice.
All right, I love that. Thank you very much for your call. I haven't been on O'Reilly in probably 10 years. Didn't I publicly invite him to come on the show to debate me about something? Oh, it was immigration, wasn't it? And the invitation remains. I know he does that on his TV show. Nothing personal. I'm more than happy to debate him on it. He supported the Senate bill. The Senate bill provides for immunizing illegal aliens who've had 2 DUIs, who've had 2 forgeries and so forth, and that's something I would like to discuss with him, but apparently not. It's all right. All right, nothing personal. Let us continue, shall we? Lou, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the great WWIQ. Go.
Hi, Mr. Levin. It's a pleasure talking to you. I talked to you back in March. I've been listening to you for a long time.
Thank
sir,
you.
I'd like to know, you're welcome, sir. Well, you know, I know like about 52% voted for this president. He's not my president. Where's the other like 48% that didn't vote for? How come nothing's going on? And with the Obamacare, he has no right looking at my records. And my father, he would turn over after 24 and a half years in the military. If he'd seen how it was run today, he would turn over his grave, sir. I mean, it's a disgrace. And why don't nobody just say what he is? He wants to socialize this world communism. He's a Marxist. And why don't nobody just say that? Are these people stupid? This is the last piece of earth that we have for freedom. Are these people crazy? I mean, I don't know, Mark. I'm thinking like you say. What's going on?
All right, Lou. By the way, what part of Philly are you from? South Philly?
Yes, sir, from Northeast, Bustleton.
Wait a minute, Bustleton Avenue area?
Yeah, I used to live around here somewhere, right? Harveston and Bustleton somewhere?
I used to live in Cheltenham.
Yeah, that's not far. I'm in Tyson Boulevard around that.
I know exactly where it is. Elkins Park is where I used to live.
Yeah, I know where that's at. A friend of mine lived up around that way.
And I'm sure they've put a memorial right in front of the house I used to live in. This is where Mark Levin used to live, don't you think?
They should if they didn't, sir.
All right, Lou. Take care, sir. You know, it's very interesting. My high school, Cheltenham Township High School, they have a Hall of Fame there, Mr. Producer. And Reggie Jackson's in it because he came out of Cheltenham. And who's the guy that plays the flute? What the hell's his name? Kenny G, that's correct. He's not the flute, but anyway, Kenny G, Benjamin Netanyahu for a year. He and his brother, who was murdered in Entebbe, they went to my high school because his father taught at the University of Pennsylvania before he went to MIT. And a number of scientists and authors and so forth, and the former Inspector General, liberal Democrat of at the Justice Department. But you know who they will not put in their Hall of Fame? Me. I don't want to be in their Hall of Fame. And you know what else is interesting about this? To the extent it is at all. I was an elected school board member in this township when I was 19 years old, going on 20. And the bureaucrats there, they remember, do they despise me. Our school board had 9 members. And back then you were elected for 6-year terms. Now they changed it because that's like a prison sentence. And I was this upstart young Turk. I got elected, I think I was sworn in when I was 20. I was going to law school. And I ran in the Republican Party, but I started a group. This will interest you, I think, called the Committee for Tax Limitation. The Committee for Tax Limitation. To try and move the Republican Party to the right. And it did, in a bedroom community that had majority liberal Republicans. And so I won election. I won my election to the school board. And most of the votes on the school board were 7-2 because a buddy of mine got elected too. His name was Robert Selleck, who lives in Florida now. Good guy. So the votes were 7-2, 7-2. And every now and then, 8-1, 8-1. So I held the line even back then, folks. Just want you to know. I'm not in the Hall of Fame. Oh, what am I going to do? Nothing. AMAC. If someone you trusted told you they were going to do something to help make your life better, but then instead of helping you, your so-called friend only helped themselves and left you and everyone you love worse off than before, how would that make you feel? The simple truth is that's exactly what the notorious AARP did to every one of their members by lobbying incessantly to pass Obamacare and to drain funds out of Medicare. It's deceptive and it's wrong, but who's going to stand against them? AMAC. AMAC is fighting to expose the backroom deals that have made the notorious AARP one of the most dangerous liberal groups in America. AMAC is the conservative alternative to the AARP, offering all of the great discounts and benefits, but without the left-wing agenda. I'm proud to be an AMAC member, and I hope you will become one too. I hope you'll join me. Your membership helps AMAC keep America strong. Join us at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. Or call 888-262-2006. That's 888-262-2006. Folks, I'm a member. Join us. It's worth it. amac.us.
Mark Levin.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. We will keep in mind and remember that Barry Goldwater has faith in us. He has faith that you and I have the ability and the dignity and the right to make our own decisions and determine our own destiny.
I just thought you'd want to hear from the Gipper. I thought you'd want to hear what it's like to listen to a competent, confident, knowledgeable, charismatic leader rather than the French Republican quislings. We can't do that. No. Look, we can't defund Obamacare, the congressional research, the congressional budget. They told us we can't do that. You see what I mean, folks? You see what I mean? How pathetic. And it is pathetic. But from time to time, I want to remind you of a great leader, because it is possible to have a great leader. But so many of these French Republicans are obviously not that, are they? They're marble-mouthed, mushed-head, yammering, pointless politicians with their little cheerleaders writing for certain websites, attacking anybody who dares to say the things that Reagan said. And this is important because Reagan saw the starkness of tyranny, and he was concerned about it. Whereas so many Republicans today, they talk about, hey, look, we're Americans, we've gotten through this, we've gotten through that. That's all quite true, but we didn't just get through it. We fought our way through our adversities, through our obstacles. We took on the challenges. You don't get through it just by saying we're Americans and you get through it. Then we're suckers. One more time, Reagan, 1964. Go.
You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness. We will keep in mind and remember that Barry Goldwater has faith in us. He has faith that you and I have the ability and the dignity and the right to make our own decisions and determine our own destiny.
Music to my ears, and to most of you, I'm sure. This man would have crushed Barack Obama if they'd been facing off and running for president of the United States. He would have absolutely crushed him. And as I've said before, Reagan had to stare down men like Barack Obama before, radical left-wing ideologues, the communist movement in Hollywood. He fought them. He knew how to confront them. He knew what to say to them. And he knew how to engage the American people. This is a man that made you look up to your country, to think about the possibilities, not one of these weasel Republicans, and certainly not one of these radical nutjob Democrats. I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, everybody. This is Mark Levin. This is the Power Hour. Guess who our guest is at the bottom of the hour? There is none. My number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. I thought of another question for the president during his phony news conference. Remember, the first question was, what were you doing the 8.5 hours between the time our consulate in Benghazi was attacked and you woke up to take your flight to Las Vegas for a campaign event? Any of the pretend journalists out there have the guts to ask the question? Here's another one. Mr. President, you cut a deal where the American people now have to subsidize members of Congress and their staffers to the tune of 75% of the cost of their health care. What up with that? You like that question? I got a million of them. But anyway, that'll do for now. There's a member of the U.S. Senate from New York who is truly a detestable person. I'm telling you that he is. And like Joe Biden, formerly the dumbest man in the Senate, now the dumbest man to be vice president, and that's saying something. Like him, he put one of those cornrows on his head and had the hair planted in there. So it's distracting when he speaks, as is the spittle usually running down his chin. This would be Senator Chucky Schmucky Schumer, senior senator from the Empire State, New York. And he was on CNN yesterday, and he said this about illegal immigration, hat tip the pseudo-news site Politico. Cut one, go.
We would much prefer a big comprehensive bill, but any way that the House can get there is okay by us. And I actually am optimistic that we will get this done. I've had a lot of discussions with various members of both parties in the House. Things are moving in the right direction. The initial reaction was the House isn't going to take up any bill. That would have been very bad, no bill. Now they're doing it in pieces. A couple of their pieces are very similar to our bill.
Yes, pieces of, what is it, POS? Pieces of, whatever. See, Schumer can't keep his mouth shut, so he's like giving up the trick. He's the magician that can't stop. You know how I did that? You ever go to a Penn and Teller show? I've been to many. It's a great show, and those are great guys. And they tell you how they do the magic. Well, this is Schumer. Although he doesn't mean to, he's revealing things. I'd prefer if they would vote on the whole bill, but we'll take it in pieces because a lot of those pieces, you see, well, it's very similar to our bill. And you see, folks, your Republicans in the House are so loathsome. They're deceiving you. We're going to take it up in individual pieces, unlike the Senate. And yet, so much of what they're taking up is just like the Senate. Let's see what else he had to say on CNN. Cut two, go.
Everyone, except for a small few on the hard right who want to do nothing, know the system is broken.
Stop. I guess that's us, ladies and gentlemen, you know, the majority. A few of us on the hard right, as opposed to the soft right. And Schumer, of course, he isn't on the hard left. No. He's rational. He's right there in the middle. That's right. We want to secure the border. That's the hard right now. Not we, the people, the hard right. Go ahead.
Here's what we do. We kick people out of the country who create jobs. We let people cross the border who take jobs from Americans. It's backward. And whatever bill we end up with is going to fix that. Now, at the end of the day...
That's enough. With his rambling buffoonery. Snake oil salesman. Do you know what? Chuck Schumer has a very broad and deep background outside of politics. You know what it is, Mr. Producer? Nothing. He graduated from law school and was directly elected to the Assembly in New York. Then from the Assembly, he was elected to the House of Representatives. Then from the House of Representatives, he was elected to the U.S. Senate. The man has never had a nanosecond of private sector experience. Period. He's exactly the kind of political hack that the framers of the Constitution would be repulsed about, because they rejected professional politicians. And that's all that this guy is. That's it. Period. So, and what he also said was, look, this is important. He also said if they pass the pieces of this, if they pass if they pass immigration reform one piece at a time, that gets us to our conference committee. This is also what he said, where we can make changes. So, folks, the jig is up. The fix is in. John Boehner, who just played golf with our friend Donald Trump, and now Donald Trump likes him because they played golf. John Boehner, Johnny, is going to orchestrate this so as to try to deflect political dissatisfaction, yours, with House Republicans, while throwing grapefruits over the plate for the likes of Chuck Schumer to hit out of the park. So that's what they're up to. And they think you're too stupid to know about it. But we're not stupid, and we do know about it. And this is why I hope those of you who live in congressional districts where you have these French Republicans running, where they're weak on this issue as they are on so many issues, that you can find viable, competent, intelligent candidates to run against them. Really. That's what's necessary. Just remember, Reagan's biggest battles weren't in the general election where he won by 2 massive landslides. It was getting through the Republican establishment. Just think about that. The man won 2 massive landslides, but it took him 3 attempts to get the Republican nomination. Because, he couldn't win, was on the hard right, wanted to fight too much, And Karl Rove didn't support him in any of those efforts, just so you know. And neither did the Bush family. Not until Reagan chose George H.W. Bush as his running mate did the Bush family support Reagan. And now all their sycophants, they put down Reagan and George W. Bush. That's a real conservative. And they trashed Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and all the rest. You know the story. Right, Randy in New York, the great WABC. Do I have it about right?
Yeah, how are you, Mark?
All right, my friend.
Listening to you playing those Reagan clips reminded me of what he almost said all those years ago when he said freedom is 1 generation away from extinction. But I wanted to answer your question about what the...
By the way, are you calling us in a wind tunnel? What's going on there?
It's the storm, I guess, out here.
Oh, you're in a storm?
Well, it's a rainstorm,
Global warming, it's a bitch,
Yeah. Anyway,
here's what Reagan said. Let's lower that a second, then we'll bring you right back, Randy. It's the last chapter of Liberty and Tyranny. Freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. Now, see, you listen to that quote, you listen to the audio we played earlier twice, and Reagan believed in this stark difference. Go ahead, play the cut.
Freedom is something that cannot be passed on in the bloodstream or genetically. And it's never more than 1 generation away from extinction. Every generation has to learn how to protect and defend it, or it's gone, and gone for a long, long time.
And he made that comment over and over and over again, as he made the earlier ones about 1,000 years of darkness. And I can assure you that the French Republicans today would trash him for making these comments. Oh, such an extremist. We got through the Civil War. We'll get through anything. Hey, where's my meatball sandwich? Well, hope is one thing, but activism is another, and the latter is what's going to be needed in order to overcome what's going on in this country. Go ahead, Randy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's imagine if you had gone into a coma in 1988 and you woke up today.
Oh my Lord, you're right.
You wouldn't believe how this country has deteriorated. And that reminds me, the Republican Party, it stands for religion. The religion of government. More government, bigger government, intrusive government, incestuous government, an all-powerful and controlling government, a government by and for the government. Did you see the movie Goodfellas?
Yes, some time ago.
Yeah, well, Joe Pesci was the Democrat in that movie.
Yes.
And the bar owner, who is the American citizen, was complaining to Joe Pesci about the tab that he was running up. So he beats the crap out of him. And, of course, there was nothing the citizen could do about it, so he ran to the arms of Paul Savino, who was the Republican, and made him his partner, and thinking that he would be safe from harm. And
yeah, we're running out of time.
Yeah, well, they raped, pillaged, and plundered his business until there was nothing left. And when there was nothing left, they burned it down to the ground for the insurance money. Mm-hmm. That's the position the American people are in now.
Very, very compelling parallel, my friend. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Yeah. People are looking for a way out of this. They certainly are. And I don't blame them. So am I. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Anita, Newport Coast, California, on the Mark Levin app. How are you?
I'm not good. I love you, Mark. I love everything you're doing for this country, and I'm beside myself. Tonight, my congressman is going to be coming to a Tea Party, Newport Mesa Tea Party. And I was going to...
Who is your congressman, please?
My congressman is Dana Rohrabacher.
Really? He's served in the Reagan administration.
Yes, and he comes from a very ultra-conservative district. And I have just gotten notice that basically he feels that he can't sign on to this resolution because the House is only 1/2 of 1/3 of the government.
Oh, good Lord.
That this is Obama's signature legislation, and that he is never going to sign off on this, and this is a strategy of naive people. Now, I have Heritage's action points, but how do you respond to something like that? And I'm not the wonderful, brilliant lawyer that you are. How do I convince
Here's what I would say. I'd say, Congressman Rohrabacher, you worked for Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan stared down Gorbachev, and he insisted that the Soviet Union could be defeated when everybody around him said the Soviet Union could not be defeated. I can't tell you the number of times great men and women in this country have had to overcome defeatists who keep insisting that that victory is not possible. And the Republican Party has gotten very comfortable being a losing party. The Republican Party has gotten very comfortable with the status quo. And you don't know how far you can move legislation or move policy unless you try. So while Obama may not sign off on the on cutting funds out of Obamacare, he may have to, in the end, agree to some limitations, some cuts. If you fight him, if you use all the parliamentary skill you can pull together to take him on. And furthermore, isn't it time that the Republican Party stood tall and explained to the American people exactly why this legislation is so disastrous? Because the American people, union, non-union, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, the American people, young, old, and in between, They do not like this law. And if it's implemented in its full, form, more and more will dislike it. Why can't you think ahead? Why can't you think into the future? Why can't you fight the good fight? Take the stand, make the case, and at least advance the ball, Congressman?
Okay, I took notes, and I will do my best. I'll do my absolute best tonight.
Remember, it's a chance.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless us. Keep hope alive. Some of us are wise and some of us are otherwise. I actually did read that in a fortune cookie. Author unknown. Let's continue, shall we? John, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the great WWIQ. Go.
Hi, Mark. I'm excited about your upcoming book and the bottom-up approach to changing our government. And I recently learned about the direct influence that party precinct committee men and committee women have on the primary elections and on other aspects of our political process. And I think that one of the most effective things that can be done at the grassroots level to break the power of the establishment is to electorally purge the committee men and committee women who've been sustaining the establishment and endorsing them into the lower levels, of the party.
Something else you can do if you can't remove them. You can stand at the precinct and hand out information, too.
Sure.
And I used to do that as a teenager for conservative Republican candidates, and I would stand there because the polls opened, as I recall, in Pennsylvania at 6 in the morning and closed, I believe, at 8 at night, thereabouts. And I would stand there all day long. And you can really influence the outcome, the numbers in a lot of these precincts if you man the precincts, which is exactly why I created this, believe it or not, way back then, Committee for Tax Limit. We manned every single precinct in our township. And whether or not you serve as an official member of the Republican establishment or Republican Party, and I would encourage this strongly, and we're going to do exactly this sort of thing when it comes to taking back this country. I'll be right back.
Can't cut your tongue? Cough up a fur ball and call 877-381-3811 right now for Mark Levin.
So Schumer is all excited. He's ecstatic about what your House of Representatives, Ryan and Boehner and Cantor and McCarthy and the rest of them. Schumer is cheerleading it. And these House Republicans want you to believe that by breaking this bill into 1,000 pieces and passing one at a time, somehow you will be not amused, not confounded, but impressed, I guess. You'll be impressed. With what? That they can vote on these separate bills? Then they go into this conference committee where the real work is done, behind closed doors, not with cigar smoke, probably marijuana smoke at this point, but you get the point. Then they'll come out with a grand compromise, and it'll be passed in 72 hours before you can even know what the hell hit you. And all of a sudden, another multi-thousand-page bill with tens of thousands of pages of regulations eventually telling you what you can do in your place of work, whether you have your own business, whether you're a coworker, what school districts will do, what's going to happen on the border, who's going to be getting immunity from this prosecution and that prosecution, from paying taxes and so forth. You're going to see tons of money, tens of billions of dollars pouring into more ethnic left-wing front groups so they can continue whatever it is that they do. This is what's going on, and the Republicans are complicit. They're complicit, and then they sell this as comprehensive immigration reform. It's just one more piece. One more piece in the building of this federal Leviathan. And the Republicans like the status quo. They like big government. They don't bend a damn finger to prevent it. Oh, we can't fight over this. Oh, no, we can't fight over that. Oh, no, politically it's bad. Oh, we can't do that. No, let's reach out to the Democrat base. Let's reach out to the Democrat constituencies. Let's convince them of how swell we are and how big our tent is. And screw our base. And screw our members. And then we'll go to our millionaire and billionaire friends who want illegal immigration. Our corporatist friends. And we'll fund our campaigns, and we'll set up PACs to fight the Tea Parties. The Tea Parties in local races, state races, and federal races. And I have an idea. We'll call our PAC Americans for Conservatism. That'll confuse everybody. Now, the whole damn place needs to be fumigated, quite frankly. Really does. Let's see. Curtis, Houston, Texas, the great KTRH country. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you, Mark?
Very well, my friend. Go right ahead.
Well, it's such as always, it's an honor to speak with you. And, I just want to tell you thanks. I finally got that copy of Maritopia you sent me. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hey, so last week, my wife and I, we went to it was like a homeschool convention.
Keep hope alive. Go right ahead.
It was a big homeschool convention, and I came across a very interesting book there. Oh, by the way, I met your friend, Rob Gordon from the Heritage Foundation there.
Wow, that's been a while. How's Rob Gordon doing?
Oh, man, great. He was really awesome. I mean, I sat there and spoke with him for quite a while, so we obviously share a lot in common.
Very good.
Anyway, I came across this book, and it was making a very odd argument. It was basically saying, and, you talk about statists quite a bit, and the book was saying that both liberals and conservatives are statists. Liberals want to control your economic conduct. Conservatives want to control your social conduct. And it was kind of odd, but have you ever seen this argument made?
Oh, it's made all the time. It's like Jay Leno telling one of the freaks on the freak show that is the conga line at MSLSD that, hey, you know what? I'm a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. Let me say this to you. Why are conservatives statists when it comes to these so-called social issues? It seems to me that conservatives believe most of these issues are to be resolved among private parties. Most of these issues are to be resolved if government's involved at the local and state levels, where they have been since our founding. The colonies, for instance, were quite involved in so-called social issues, either escaping tyranny when it came to, for instance, the free exercise of religion, or compelling certain types of religious practices. That went on in the early colonies. But all that said, who is it that is demanding that the Supreme Court be used to impose their agenda on the rest of society? It's not conservatives. It's the left.
Exactly. Yeah. And the book was. I mean, it seemed like the guy that.
And I will add one other point. There are certain things that are in fact right and correct when it comes to morality and ethics. So it's not a question of imposing anything. It's a question of human experience and preserving the civil society.
Yeah, exactly. And he went on to say moderates want to control both. So, they must be the most evil among them. So,
all right,
basically, choose your poison.
All right. You take care. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Let's see. Okay. We have Christopher. Wow, New Jersey's wide awake today. What's going on there? And by the way, while I'm talking about New Jersey, all right, the rest of the country is going to get upset with me when I say this. You cannot get a better tomato than in South Jersey. Do you guys agree with me or not? No, you don't like tomatoes. I'm not a big tomato guy. Have a tomato. How about you? You don't like any vegetables. All right. There you go. Dealing with a couple of future heart patients. All right, let's move along then. All right, you killed that. Christopher, Morristown, New Jersey. WABC. Go. All right, thank you for your call. By the way, I've been meaning to say this. I want to thank my friend Don Imus, who apparently a few days ago was singing my praises. That's very, very kind of him. I'm a big Don Imus fan. I have been for years, and what he does on that ranch for those children is just incredible. And he does it with, I don't know if he has emphysema or what he's got, but he has very difficult time breathing, and he still goes down to New Mexico, and all summer long, he and his wife and his son to help those children. I'll tell you, that's a class act. So we want to salute him. All right, what do we have here? Let's see. George, New Jersey, the great WABC. Go. Is George there, folks, on line 3? Okay. George, are you there, sir?
Yes, I certainly am. You've been interrupted a bit, but now I hear you.
Thank you.
I heard the first show on Sunday afternoon out of New York when you were complaining about the ads taking up too much time.
Hold on, wait a minute. You mean my first Sunday show?
Absolutely. And I'm also the guy
Hold on now. What was I complaining about?
What's that?
I was complaining about the ads?
Yeah, they were taking up too much time in the show.
They do take up time.
And I'm the guy who gave you the 8-foot Gadsden flag at book review for...
Oh, my goodness. I remember you.
Do you? Did you ever get the flag?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know you had so many handlers there that somebody might have...
Well, the problem is when thousands of people show up and everybody's handing me their card and this and that and the other thing, I have nowhere to put it.
Uh-huh. Well, just as long as somebody took care of it for you, that's what counts. But I want to tell you I had the greatest compliment of my life. I have a physical therapist who is really outstanding by the name of Asha Koshy. And she's the quintessential American. Asha Koshy is the last name.
Asha Koshy?
Yeah. She's from India, but she is the quintessential American. Hardworking, honest, really competent. But what she did to me, I finally convinced her she should listen to you on the way home from the office. And the next day she said, hey, you know, he sounds just like you. You don't beat that as far as a compliment can be.
Aren't you nice?
All
right. Well, but you're a solid guy. I hope I see one of the book signings this time, too. Thank you for your call, my friend. That's George. Good man. Thank you, George. Bob, this is our buddy, my buddy Bob, San Francisco, the great KSFO, the Teamster. How are you, Bob?
Oh, fine, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How's your wife doing?
She's doing a lot better. I want to thank you for sending me that book on tape because there was a lot of big words in there, you know. But
yeah, I think you could handle it.
Yeah, well, we give it a shot. Anyway, she used to call you the Little Screamer. Now she calls you the Great Screamer because we watched you at the Reagan Library on the computer. And when are you going to come out here? Because I was looking on there. I'd like to come out. We'd like to go over there and meet you. Are you ever going to come out in the Bay Area?
Well, you know what? I lived for a very short period of time in the Bay Area in Sunnyvale, California. Did you know that? Did I ever tell you that?
No, but I know it very well.
And it's a beautiful area. Of course, the government sucks. But there's a lot of very, very nice people, nice places. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I was calling you because I'm so frustrated. Well, actually, we had a union meeting. Our union attorney comes down here and explains Obamacare, how it's a disaster, you know, and how that it's going to set unions back. There's a whole list of things on that issue.
Yeah, too bad they went all full bore for Obama then.
Oh, yeah, they're not now, though, believe me.
Yeah, well, it's too damn late.
That's a fact. But I called Graham because that guy, I just can't stand that guy. That's why I sit down when I call him. But I called him talking about the immigration bill, you know, and I'm going around, and then he says to me, where do I get my information? I told him I listen to you, and the conversation went downhill from there, I'll tell you the truth. But
wait a minute.
anyway.
Whoa. You called Senator Graham's office, and the conversation went down from there because of me. You know why? Because I call them what they are. That's why.
I know. He's like a $3 bill, that guy. But anyway, there's about 10 of us out here, and we decided, and I told the guy on the phone that we're going to back whoever runs against him in a primary. And, you know, if he wins a primary, we're going to back the Democrat against him. We'll send him money. And he goes, why would you send money to a Democrat? I says, because he is a progressive and he is a Democrat, and it's time for him to go. Then they slammed the phone on.
They hung up on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
But then I called Feinstein's office on the immigration bill, and I'm explaining.
Man, you were really into agony here. Go ahead.
Yeah, you got to hear this one. And I'm talking to this young lady, and I says the African American unemployment rate out here is about 20%. I mean, who do you think is going to come across the border? You know, there's not going to be brain surgeons and stuff. And she said to me, "Well, you know how many illegal immigration is coming across the border now?" And I go, "No, how many?" She says, 0. I said, "You telling me 0? She says, "Yeah." And I said to her, I mean, I don't know what kind of crack you're smoking, but it's insane because I was.
Oh, I bet they didn't hang up on you after that one.
Oh no. She got a little ticked off. But the Republican.
Look, they know. Listen, they know there's 0 coming across because Feinstein and her staff are right there on the border and counting.
Yeah, they are. They're on the border.
Hey, Bob, I got to run. You're a great call every time. You call again, all right, my friend?
God bless you, man. God bless you.
You too. You take care. Now, my friends, it's August, as you know, and your member of Congress is back home for his or her summer recess. This used to be a time when most of them would hold town hall meetings to discuss important matters with, you, their constituent. But many of them are now afraid to face you. In 2009, when Obamacare was being debated, many of these town halls got heated, as you might expect, when Congress was trying to nationalize your health care. Now, we suspect this is why so many are reluctant to hold their town hall meetings today. We call them, what's the word, cowards. Now, it's absolutely disgraceful that these so-called representatives are afraid to face you, the people. But the Tea Party patriots are working on your behalf. They've created a special toolkit to help you engage with your elected officials this summer. Go to TeaPartyToolkit.com right now, TeaPartyToolkit.com, to download your free toolkit. Now, there you'll find talking points, sample letters, and instructions on how to host your very own town hall. Please take advantage of these important tools right now. So please go to TeaPartyToolkit.com today to download your free toolkit. That's TeaPartyToolkit.com.
Mark Levin.
Steve, Front Royal, Virginia, the great WMAL. Go.
Hi, Mark. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
I wanted to call something about the last election and what you discussed about the non-turnout. My parents had voted religiously for over half a century. My father for more than that. And neither one of them voted in the last presidential election. And I was disappointed in them, and I was pushing them to do it. They were older, and my father especially. But after the election, and then I had a chance to look at it, I see why they didn't. There was nothing there for them.
What did they say? Because we're going to run out of time. Why didn't they vote? What did they say?
Well, my dad was basically saying that he couldn't raise his hand and vouch for a person that he didn't agree with. His vote was too valuable for that. And
did he think Romney was what? Too liberal, too indecisive? What?
Same suit, different bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
Or in more colorful terms, same smell, different outhouse. I mean, for the dominance of the government over your personal health and your
So
choice.
he really felt that Romney had a liberal background that he couldn't shake with the Romney care and so forth, I'm guessing, and that he wasn't making a convincing case for principled conservatism? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is that it?
No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. And they were not happy about it. They were despondent. And I was sad for them to see the political condition of our country. I lost my father after that, some months after that. And it made me think as to why something so important to him as his vote, he didn't exercise it. And he was a very strong, principled person, and I knew it hurt him very deeply that there was nowhere for him to go. And
you see, your father is a lot of people, and if the Republican Party keeps this up, particularly when it comes to presidential elections, same thing's going to happen. The Democrats will turn out the base, although not that great, because Obama's vote was less than it was the prior election. But the Republicans are not going to turn out their base. They don't understand that people are disgusted, and they will stay home.
That was the term I would give for the feeling was disgust. There was a disgust and a betrayal that he was for it. He was for anything to get rid of Obama, but when it all settled down and we ended up with blue state, I'd say political milquetoast. There was no spark there, and there was nothing.
All right, Steve. Well, I appreciate your call. I'm sorry about the passing of your father. Really am. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, and emergency personnel. We're one day closer to the Liberty Project. And I'll see you tomorrow, America. I'm Mark Levin.